extremely hot.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was a very, very hot day. So yes, very much in summer, that's for sure.
Yep. Well, I was so glad that you were able to come and do this because for those of you that don't know, Megan's episode of Overcoming Overwhelm is coming up on Mindful Mondays this Monday at 1 o'clock. And she is a certified health coach and she has a very unique approach. She calls it wellness while working. And so we go into a lot of detail. We're not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but I wanted to give everybody at least a little bit of snippet of what Megan is going to be talking about this Monday and how you can help support people. So, Megan, if you want to tell everybody, share with everybody a little bit what happened with your journey, what led you to become a wellness coach and form wellness while working.
I had a career in for over 20 years in human resources. So I've worked in various senior roles within HR, within corporate. I've had global roles and I've had international roles. And the overwhelm is there a lot. The feel, and particularly a woman in business trying to I don't like the word climb the ladder, but trying to better yourself and get better opportunities can be difficult as well. And the other thing is that in 2014, I was in a place of complete overwhelm myself. I had lots of things going on in my life, and I was at a point where I wasn't quite sure how I would move on and how I would get through. And the biggest thing for me that year was that we had lost my mum both suddenly and unexpectedly at the beginning of the year. And as a child, it's really strange, but you always expect to lose your parents, but you never expect to lose, sorry, you always expect to lose your grandparents
Yep.
there's something there, but you never expect to lose your parents. You just always think they're going to be around. So I'm the youngest of 6 kids and we're a very close family. So that was a very big shock for us. So in 2014, I was in a very dark place myself. And so I started to do a lot of work on myself. I'm an energy healer anyway, and I had already been on a journey. And the interesting thing for me, someone asked me the other day, and I said 2 years prior, I'd actually stopped drinking alcohol. And so I feel like that clarity that I was getting from not drinking and not being able to mask how I was feeling actually possibly put me in the dark place because I had to face what I was feeling. And so, giving up the alcohol is a good thing, but I did go into a dip because of that. So I then started to do a lot of work on myself. And then I realized that every day of my life in my career, I've coached and mentored people, and I just love it. And so a couple of years ago, I decided to move out of being paid by a corporate and actually starting my own business. And now I work with women who are in corporate or in business, any type of business, and I help them with their overwhelm.
Yeah, I used to work, in different companies and I've done different blue collar things. So there was always that pressure. But I would say as being an entrepreneur and a woman that there's also still pressure as well. So, and I think
Mm.
pretty much in anything we could get overwhelmed very easily nowadays.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So the wellness with while working, what exactly do you mean by that?
If we are not happy at work, if we don't feel happy to be doing the work that we're doing, or if the environment that we're working in doesn't make us happy or isn't a well place to be, then there's something that needs to change. Because before the pandemic, everybody was going into the office. So from a cultural point of view, it's quite interesting because the culture when you're in an office is quite obvious. But now, since the pandemic, most people are working from home. Like I know in Sydney, well, in Sydney in particular, there's a lot of organizations that they don't expect their employees to come back into the office. My husband's company, they are only doing 1 day a week. And so I think that is actually difficult then for organizations to actually get a feel for what the culture is now, because people aren't coming together all of the time and it's not as obvious. And so if you can get yourself in a really good place, if you can put some wellness opportunities in front of you and they start to become who you are and the way that you live, then naturally everything, it flows into everything else. It flows into home life, relationships, work. And what I would love to see is that people are turning up to their job and they're in a really great place. But if they're not, that they're in an environment where they feel courageous and brave enough and vulnerable enough to actually put their hand up and say, I'm not in a great place, I need some help.
Yeah, and I think that culture change you were talking about is here as well, because you notice there's still constantly all kinds of signs up, jobs hire, people hiring or saying, hey, work today, we'll pay you tomorrow. Because during that pandemic, I mean, at first people freaked out, weren't sure what they were going to do, and then realized they could work from home and make it work. So now a lot of them that have learned to do that don't want to go back to don't want to
Yeah.
go back to work. I mean, for some people it was bad, for some people it was good. I think it was an eye opener of what else is out there, for
Yeah.
people. So it was definitely
Yeah.
a shift and a change, which I think people are still adapting to. It's been a
Yeah.
different change.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I found myself that, and a lot of people, I suspect, if they're in their own business, would feel this, that sometimes you can feel, it can feel quite lonely running your own business and doing your own thing. And I found that through COVID, I actually really struggled working from home all the time because I feed off people. I love being around people, and I love sitting in an office and listening to what's going on and hearing what other people are talking about. And so for me, I've needed to, and particularly now just sitting in my own business all the time, I often go like once or twice a week, I'll go and sit in a cafe and work because I just need that feel of people around me. Or I'm looking at the moment, I don't know whether you have it in the US, but WeWork spaces. So you actually go into areas where you pay for the corporate facilities and you sit there and you work, but then you're actually around other people who are working as well. And so I'm looking at those sort of opportunities as well, because sitting here, I mean, I've got a beautiful office, but I still need that feeling of connection and being around people, definitely.
Yeah, it's always still nice getting out and around everybody. I would say
Yeah.
work-wise, I personally don't think I really missed that, because a lot of the jobs I worked in, it was constant drama, and to be away from that was, kind of always a relief and nice. And when you work for
Yeah.
yourself and you work at home, you can kind of choose more of who you want to who you want to
Yeah.
work with and be around, rather than you have to be by this person. So
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
I
definitely has some
totally
different
agree with that.
it definitely has some different perks. Um, and I know you have some really unique techniques, and we're going to talk about them more in detail. So we don't want to give them all away, because I know you have a self technique. But do you want to touch on a little bit about how you normally work with people? Do you do workshops? Do you do retreats, one-on-one?
Mhm.
Share with people how you can work with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So up until this moment, I've been doing one-on-one coaching with women. I have a couple of programs. I have like a smaller, it's called Kickstart. So it's a little program that actually is 1 hour and then two 30-minute sessions. And I find that, when we're choosing who to work with from a coaching point of view, it's a very personal relationship and journey that you go on together. And so even people that I've worked with before, have often bought that package first because they want to see whether we used to work together in a different capacity. Now I'm going to come to you as a coach. And so it's a really nice way to offer, okay, is this going to work? Is it a nice relationship? And 10 times out of 10, everybody has then moved into the bigger package. So I have a 12-week package. And well, a 12 session package. Some people like to just run week after week. That's the way that they like to be coached. Some people do every fortnight because they need a week in between to integrate and, to put into place some of the things that they're experimenting with. But I'm also now looking at doing group coaching as well. And that's come about because I've really listened into when I'm listening to women talking about overwhelm. And I would love to start to do some group coaching because it builds a community. Then you're in a tribe, you're in a group of other women who are all facing overwhelm. Could be completely different reasons why it is, but there's this beautiful support that comes through from a group coaching process as well. So in the new year, I'm starting to offer group coaching program as well. And so the format of what I'm going through with group as opposed to one-on-one is exactly the same. The first thing that we deal with is, where are your boundaries? How good are you with your boundaries? And we work on the boundaries first. And it's difficult for people if their boundaries are very loose. But I feel that if you don't get your boundaries in place, then the rest of the program actually won't be as transformational. Because if those boundaries are not really working, or I'm not courageous or brave enough to put them in, then that transformation won't come, because the boundaries is the most important thing. So that's one of the first things that we work on, and it's challenging. But my clients that are coming to me, I always say to them, the fact that you've come to me, you've had a discovery call, you've now booked in for some coaching, you're already halfway there. You're halfway on your journey. And so the rest of it really isn't going to be as difficult as you making that decision to make this change in the first place.
Yeah. And I love that with boundaries, because those are really important for, both you and the other person as well. And, we all go through it, because when you start making all those little gray areas, well, you make this exception, you make that exception. Next
Yeah.
thing you know, you don't have boundaries anymore, and you wind up with the same stress or overwhelm. So I think that
Yeah.
is a huge part, to helping control overwhelm.
Absolutely. And the thing is too, is that if you don't make yourself and your wellness a priority, how like, I don't even need to add anything else to that, because I actually think people should be pondering that. If your wellness is not your priority, then how do you expect to actually make any changes and positive changes for yourself, and how do you expect to be your best version? So that's why I start with that, because it really cements into my clients then, oh my gosh, it starts to then become a bigger thing of, oh, wow, okay, yep, I need to start. And then they start to get this real vision of, oh, actually, that person doesn't respect my boundaries at all. And, it's snowball. So it's really great. Yeah.
It is. And like I said, we go into a lot more detail in your Overcoming Overwhelm with Megan North. That is the name of your episode that is coming up this Monday. And she'll go more into about her, she's got the self technique, the self S-E.L.F.F. There is an extra F there. You'll have to watch to explain that, to see that, but she'll explain how that technique works, different versions, just shared stories with clients, successful things. And we go deeper into the story and things that you can do to help protect yourself from that overwhelm. So I really hope people join in to watch them. But for now, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you, to contact you?
They can contact me on my website, so wellnesswhileworking.com.au. They can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and it's under Wellness While Working. And if anybody from a corporate point of view is on LinkedIn, if they want to contact me directly, Megan North, then they can do so as well.
And I'll make sure we put all of those links for you in the comments so people will know how to contact you. But
Great.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate you taking the time. I'm almost kind of jealous. It's nice out here, but it's still a little too cool to open the windows. I got the heater on. I can see you got the window open, so I know you're nice and warm right now.
Yeah, definitely.
So Megan, thank you very much for joining us. And everybody, make sure, if you want to catch the entire episode that is coming up on Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross, you can either watch it on the YouTube channel or the Facebook. It will air at 1 p.m. on December 18th. And of course, you can always go back to the channel and catch the replay as well. But I want to thank everyone for joining us, and hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Laura.